7 days ago, I built an AI agent to scan the internet for business opportunities. When I started building the system, I assumed finding opportunities would be the difficult part. I was wrong. Finding opportunities turned out to be relatively easy. The internet is full of information. The real challenge is determining whether a piece of information is actually useful. For example, a headline can sound impressive and still have almost no commercial value. A company launching a new feature isn't automatically an opportunity. A funding announcement isn't automatically an opportunity. And a viral AI story isn't automatically something that can generate revenue. That's why I built a scoring system. Instead of rewarding attention, the system rewards business potential. Can someone build a service around this? Can someone create content around this? Can someone save time with this? Can someone make money with this? Those are the questions that matter. Today, it has processed hundreds of AI stories and identified 255 opportunities. But the most surprising thing wasn't the number. It was discovering how difficult it is to separate real opportunities from noise. And along the way, I found a major flaw in the system that almost made the entire project useless. Every day, there are hundreds of AI headlines, new tools, new models, new startups, new announcements. The problem isn't finding information. The problem is figuring out which information actually matters. So I built Prompt Pulse. The idea is simple. Instead of reading AI news manually, I wanted an AI agent that could scan everything for me and identify potential business opportunities. The workflow starts with RSS feeds. The system collects AI news from multiple sources, then a scoring agent analyzes every story. The goal isn't to find interesting news. The goal is to find commercial opportunities. Stories with monetization potential receive higher scores. The strongest opportunities move further into the workflow. Everything gets stored inside a central content database. After running continuously, the system started collecting opportunities surprisingly quickly. A few days later, the database contained dozens of opportunities, then over 100. Eventually, the count reached 255. At that point, I started reviewing the results manually. As the database grew, patterns started appearing. Some categories consistently received higher scores than others. AI coding tools scored well. Business automation tools scored well. Lead generation opportunities scored well. But hype-driven stories often scored surprisingly low. That was one of the biggest surprises. The stories getting the most attention online were often not the stories creating the most business value. In many cases, the opportunities with the highest potential were the least exciting headlines. And that's exactly the type of signal I wanted the system to find. That's when I noticed something strange. The agent was finding opportunities, but it was also finding duplicates. The same story would sometimes appear multiple times, different headlines, different sources, but the same underlying event. At first, I thought something was broken. Then I realized this is actually one of the hardest parts of building systems like this. Finding information is easy. Filtering information is hard. The most valuable lesson wasn't about AI. It was about attention. Most information has no business value. A small percentage contains real opportunities. The challenge is building a system that consistently filters out everything else. And despite the duplicate problem, Prompt Pulse was already doing a much better job than manually reading news every day. Finding opportunities is only the first step. The next challenge is much bigger. Can an AI system automatically turn opportunities into content? Because that's exactly what I'm testing next. The goal is to create a workflow that goes from opportunity to published content with as little human involvement as possible. Another thing I realized is that collecting opportunities is only one piece of a much larger system. An opportunity by itself has no value. Value comes from execution. A human still needs to decide which opportunity deserves attention. A human still needs to build something. A human still needs to take action. But if AI can eliminate 90% of the noise, the decision-making process becomes dramatically easier. That's where I think systems like Prompt Pulse become interesting. Not because they replace people, but because they help. This is only the beginning of the Prompt Pulse project. 255 opportunities found. plenty of mistakes, plenty of lessons, and hopefully a lot more interesting experiments ahead. In the next episode, I'm connecting the Opportunity Engine to a content creation workflow and testing whether AI can automate the next stage of the process. I'll see you there.